The WNBA playoffs are here, so let's get right into the action. Now, today we'll be breaking down a very special episode and very special game, which is Game 2, Seattle Storm versus Las Vegas Aces. Before we get into the action, remember to rate and review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and drop a follow and subscribe if you like the video you see today. This game was the most entertaining game of the WNBA playoffs so far, and it came with some drama. The Aces had a 17-game win streak entering this game, and the Seattle Storm broke it with the second largest comeback in team playoff history. The entire first quarter was a back-and-forth quarter, and I thought the Aces were going to get out to an early run, starting 4-0, and it looked like the Seattle Storm were a little bit rattled. It's a very physical series so far, and I think that plays in the favor of the Las Vegas Aces and A'ja Wilson, but they showed some fight. And it wasn't just the first quarter, it wasn't just the first half, it was the whole game. The Storm responded early by scoring in transition off of a turnover and utilizing a mismatch in this rim running scenario. We're going to look at a simple action here as the initiator in the first pass will go to the left wing with a ball screen action with A'ja Wilson, but the defense has so much attention drawn towards that ball screen that there is a pin down for a wide open three. Early on in this play, the Storm will see a mismatch with Agumake at the mid-post. She will then catch, but I'm going to slow this down for you because her footwork in this position is amazing because she can already shoot over the top, but this body bump and turnaround jumper frees her even more. A big story in this one offensively is the fact that the Storm were able to pick on mismatches. Again, you see it here over the top, and they force a double team and a slide-off pass for a layup. Sometimes it's nice to play through your stars like A'ja Wilson, but sometimes it's also nice to run a set to make things easier for your team. And here we see A'ja Wilson starting with a back screen, and then as we let it go again, they should have thrown the backdoor pass, but you didn't keep your eyes up. So if you let the play go through again, A'ja Wilson will set a ball screen after she sets the back screen. This frees up an open mid-range jumper. Could have kept things a little bit easier, but it still gave her an open shot. After a hard-fought first quarter, the score was 22-21. Aces were up. Now this just leads into another intense quarter, being the second quarter, where it was just as competitive. Nothing flashy to start the second quarter, but the Las Vegas Aces continue to use A'ja Wilson in ball screen actions, and it tends to work out for them because she is, in my opinion, the MVP of the league, and she seals off the person she's screening, and the pass goes right over the top for an easy layup. I know I'm talking a lot about the team's offensive schemes right now, whether it's sets or just straight up star power. But the way this game has gone, there was no defense played in this game. And even here, drawing the defense, kick out three, another response from the Storm. And of course, the next possession down, A'ja Wilson setting another ball screen, except this time, instead of getting the ball on the roll pass, there was a wide open three. Time and time again, the Seattle Storm in this game tried to adjust to A'ja Wilson and the Aces pick and roll action that we've mentioned over and over again. Now here we see two girls collapsing on the roll, which leaves someone open. And she pops up away from that double team, and you have an open driver because there's somebody open because of the double team. So if you're not going to leave A'ja Wilson open, you're going to leave somebody else open. And this is an easy drive to the basket because the defense is trying to recover. Skylar Diggins started to catch fire right before halftime. And this was a sign for the Storm going into the second half, down by 1 point, 45-44. To open up the third quarter offensively for the Storm, they're going to run their own ball screen action after they make the first pass or two. And the screen is actually rejected, in which you can fake out your defender if they're overplaying. And there's a lot of space on the right side of the court to have a layup. In a situation where you're already underdogs, you cannot afford to make silly mistakes. And here is one of them. Now, I know they end up winning the game, but that's not the point. You should be able to clean up certain mistakes by the time playoffs come around, especially if you're the underdog as the 7 seed versus the 2 seed in this series. There's two people guarding the ball in transition. Why are we not communicating and dropping down to the open girl here on the left block? because she's eventually going to get the ball. As they see the double team, they know someone's open. So they're just going to pick it apart, and that's an easy layup for them that should have never happened. And if I'm being honest with you, between the defensive miscues and even some turnovers in the second half of this game, I really thought the Storm were going to shoot themselves in the foot and just be out of it completely. And I thought the Aces were going to run away with this one. Now, we know that's not true by the end of it, but the Storm honestly should have never had to come back in this game. They made silly mistakes and really should have just not have put themselves in certain positions and should have been a little bit smarter. Thankfully, their offense turned it on again, and they ended up finishing the game on a 16-4 run, which we will see in a little bit. The end of the third quarter was 69-61 Aces, and here's where we really thought the Aces were going to pull away with this game. To start the fourth quarter, the Aces came out firing on all cylinders once again, but so did Skylar Diggins. I mentioned this earlier, but she started to catch fire in this game and really pulled them in this fourth quarter. Asia Wilson hits an easy mid-range jumper here and pulls them ahead by 12. But with 7 minutes left, no lead is safe. Just like we see the Aces using the pick and roll over and over again, we see Skylar Diggins scoring over and over again. She went 10 for 20 in this game for 26 points. Again, she kept them in this fourth quarter and allowed them to have a chance to win. Remember when I said the Storm made a big run to close out this game and pull ahead to win? Here's where it really started. Now, I said with 7 minutes left, no lead was safe. But they made their run around the 5-minute mark and pulled the game within 3 points. They made some 3-point perimeter shots to pull themselves within range and never looked back. Now, not to take away from Seattle, but I really think the Aces took their foot off the gas and started to play a little bit sloppy, allowing these threes to happen, allowing these shots to be made, and I think that was their biggest mistake. Now let's really get into crunch time. Here's where the Aces really needed a stop. And when in doubt, who's the Storm going to go to? You guessed it, Skylar Diggins. I thought this was a very well thought out play by Becky Hammond on this one. You're going to see Asia Wilson set a screen and then set another screen curling around to the right elbow to free up an open 3-point shooter. It just happened to be that the shot was missed. This was their chance to tie the game. But again, being up 14 at one point, you should have had this game closed out. That'll do it for this episode of Court Vision. Remember to rate and review and follow on all socials for more. And we'll see you next time. And remember, the film never lies.